Hello, my name is Richard Yuan. I am a junior at Stanford and I did my Cardinal Quarter in Malawi, Africa.
Hi, my name is Noel, and last summer I was a SIG Fellow for the San Jose Parks and Recreation Department.
Hi, my name is Lupe Campanovo and I'm a sophomore studying political science. Last summer I did Cardinal Quarter and I worked at the Superior Court in Washington, D.C.
Hi everyone, my name is Steffi and I'm class of 2023 and 2024. I'm a co-term student and I worked at the Mexican Fund for the Conservation of Nature, the FMCN, this last summer in Mexico City.
Hi, my name is Chris Belillo and I'm a part of the class of 2025. I did my fellowship at the National Center for Learning Disabilities, where I focused on federal education policy, specifically looking at its intersection with issues of learning disability.
Hello, my name is Anita. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a senior. I was a fellow for the Advancing Gender Equity Fellowship, which is part of the Stanford Women's Community Center. And particularly the organization I was working for was the California Maternal Quality Care Collaborative.
My name is Adrian Feinberg. I'm in the Stanford class of 2025, and I did a Stanford Global Studies Fellowship in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, with the Post-Conflict Research Center.
My name is Jen So, and I was a Roland Longevity Fellow in the summer of 2023, working with a nutrition nonprofit called Organic Soup Kitchen in my hometown of Santa Barbara.
My number one piece of advice for anyone doing a Cardinal Quarter experience is to really lean into that relationship with your mentor. I think it's the most valuable asset that comes out of the experience, no matter what you're doing.
Prepare well in advance of your fellowship, research a little bit about the site that you're going into. Also, never be afraid to ask questions to your supervisor and also the Haas Center.
I know that for me, it was my first time living by myself in another country, and I'm sure it is for many people who participate in Stanford Global Studies Fellowships or any kind of Cardinal Quarter Fellowship. So knowing a little bit about your surroundings and your local context is something that you can always rely on your supervisor for.
A lot of people work in the department have been working there for a really long time and were really able to tell me all the different changes they've seen while working in the city government for the last decades or so. And I was really able to form a lot of lasting friendships, and it was really special for me.
The biggest asset and the biggest value from your internship comes from your mentor, and that's really just doesn't matter what you're doing, but they have just such a wealth of information and experience.
I know that for any issue having to do with my personal health or well-being or my own accommodations or my work schedule, I was just always in contact with my supervisor.
But at the same time, I would recommend being honest with yourself and your supervisor about what kind of work is realistic for your fellowship, because that attitude of transparency can help avoid a lot of confusion, a lot of tension, and save you a lot of stress down the road.
When you make a learning plan, to make sure you really go over it with your mentor. I think making sure that all the goals and outcomes and action items that need to be done are shared and where you both are on the same page. And to make sure you revisit that learning plan frequently.
If you're a fellow, there are so many different people who will surround you, who truly want to support your knowledge and your growth as someone who's passionate about public service. But there is also part that requires you to take initiative to say, yes, I want to do this thing, if you truly want to continue to grow and to support your public service efforts so that you can be the most effective change maker that you can be alongside the communities that you're growing with and alongside the people that you're learning from.
Just say yes to everything. It was my first non-remote 9-to-5 internship experience, and so I really struggled with after work knowing what to do, and I did struggle with some feelings of loneliness because of that, but once I made that conscious decision to start saying yes to after work functions, meeting up with other Stanford students in my area, and also just exploring, though I was living in my hometown, just exploring my hometown in a different capacity ever since I had moved away from college was a really cool experience.
Keep an open mind, to just throughout the process be a reliable team member, but also adapt to your community's expectations.